while they're finishing up, I just want to introduce someone and talk about something that's not in their program. Solo and Ensemble Contest happened back in, I believe it was early February, and we took all the groups that I told you, all the solos. But there was one person that didn't have the opportunity to perform. And this person was Colin Schneider. He's a horn player in the 8th grade. And due to a clerical error on my part, his name did not end up on the list for some reason. And I tried as hard as I could to still get him the time, but apparently the Ohio Music Educator Association is a big stickler with deadlines, to the point where I was talking to like the head of Adjudication Council, and he was like, we can't change it. We can only change it in emergency situations, because if we change it for you, we have to change it for everybody. And I was like, how many people really ask about this? Please let him perform. And so he didn't have the opportunity to perform at OMEA, and so I thought I would love to give him the opportunity to perform his piece for an audience. And so I have a question. Would you like to hear a French horn solo right now? That was the right answer. Because it was going to happen regardless of what you said. Okay. So may I please introduce Mr. Colin Schneider, as well as his grandma, Karen Schneider, to the stage. Mozart's Horn Concerto Movement 3, is that correct? Which is a very challenging solo, so I'm so excited that we have a middle school student that's able to perform this. Without further ado, Colin Schneider. One more big round of applause for Colin. It's always one thing when you go band and you have a bunch of kids playing all together, like that's usually okay, but when you pull them away and you ask them to play by themselves, it's always a lot more nerve-wracking, especially to play in front of, even as great of an audience as you, it's very, very nerve-wracking. So I think many of us would be very, very nervous to be out here, and I think we handled that really well, so I'm so proud of you. What we're about to do is we have 8th grade behind me. I'm going to do a quick little warm-up with them just to make sure that they're not too hot from being on stage here, and then I'll be back and we'll talk briefly before our very first song. Thank you so much. Here we go. So here we are, it's 8th grade behind me. This is the very last concert that they're going to play under my baton here on this stage. So I'm very excited to present them to you. I've had them since 5th grade. I call them my band babies because it was my very first year that I was here and we had a band together. It was the last time we had 5th grade band here at Ross. In 6th grade band, they did not have band, as you recall, because we had COVID. And then they came back to me in 7th grade where we had these just a real struggle coming back, but then they all kind of came back and we started practicing and getting into it, and I was like, wow, this is really something special. And now here we are in 8th grade. I decided this was going to be the first group that I was going to take to OMEA large group contest. While we are going to Music in the Parks on Saturday, large group contest for OMEA is a lot stricter. The competition has a lot more rules, and they really, really listen very critically to what you play, and you're adjudicated and given a score. And I'm proud to say that the band behind me received an excellent rating on Friday when we went to the very first live concert. And I told them that while I'm planning on continuing to take groups, there's only one first one. And so I told them I wasn't going to cry. I even have here that says, don't cry. So listen to your past self, Mr. Moore. So it's just, I'm very proud of them and the hard work they put in and the road that they paved for the bands that come after them. So yes, thank you so much to the 8th grade band. We're about to play 2 of the tunes. You already heard one, which was Crosswinds March. We played that with 7th and 8th grade combined. They played it by themselves on Friday. We'll also compete with that. But the next 2 tunes are the ones that they played for OMEA, and I thought I'd give you the opportunity to listen to them. Before we move on to that, though, I did want to have Mr. Raymer come on here, and I did want to say thank you to Mr. Raymer and let him talk to 8th grade parents for just a brief minute. So thank you so much, Mr. Raymer. Look at he's always exactly where I need him to be. So round of applause for Mr. Raymer.
two or three things I want to mention. Number one, applications and $100 deposit is due this Friday for 8th graders that are continuing on. Number two, if you are an 8th grade parent or student that wants to change your mind and wants to continue, I think there's like 2 or 3 of you, please talk to me. It's not too late, even though the counselors may have told you it's too late. I know the counselors, all right? I would love to keep everybody in this band. Number 4, the time I see you again in the summer for most of you is July 17th, 9 to noon. The schedule's online. You should have got information on how to join the Remind group, the Final Forms group. We want to communicate with you parents over the summer, and this is kind of a time where I don't see you again, or you don't hear from me. If you're not in the Remind group, you're not on Final Forms with me for high school, please talk to me. Call me, email, and I'll get you where you need to be so you've got all the dates and times you need for the high school band. This is a really special band. It's not a giant band, but it's quality, not quantity, with this group, and Mr. Morlark will attest to that. It's a really special group because this is the success of COVID. It's very interesting how that worked out, because these guys are awesome. Every one of them, a lot of them are one on a part, and they are nailing it to the wall, and I don't need to tell him that. But you guys are awesome, and Mr. Morlark's led that. We did not let COVID beat us, right? And you guys just continue on with what you're doing, right? So I'm turning it back over and want to hog the concert. Thank you.
This first piece of music that we're going to play with 8th grade is a piece that I heard during COVID called Moonlit Dreams. It was a beautiful piece of music that I was like, one day we're going to do this. And it features a clarinet choir at the beginning. It's three parts. And it's supposed to be a clarinet choir. So a choir meaning many clarinets. And I was like, well, there's 3 parts. I got 3 clarinets. That should be perfect. And then I was like, it was 3 clarinets and a bass clarinet. I was like, oh, I got one of those too. Nailed it. So this piece of music, we are doing it at the bare minimum instrumentation. Every single person is responsible for their part by themselves. For the most part, they are one on a part. I needed more euphonium on this, so I had Michael Lewis, who normally plays trombone. He's playing euphonium. Why? Because he has to. That's why. Okay? And so I'm very excited because this piece is beautiful, and this piece deserves to be played. Oh my goodness, by this group. So here, I'm going to play this on the front. It's Moonlit Dreams. Here we go. that to me. I promise I'm not going to cry at this moment. We're done. But it's such a beautiful piece of music. So shout out to the clarinets. We have Maddie, Carly, round of applause for Carly. On flute, we had Tiffany Furman there on saxophone, and then the whole percussion section. So beautiful on that piece of music. Sometimes it's hard to really learn the percussion section. It's such a great job. Before we move on to the next piece, and the last piece of music, I have quite a few things I want to say, so thank you for bearing with us here. The first one is the last award that I'd like to give out. So every year, for many years, when I first started my career, I was young, just like Mr. Becker. I was 22, full of energy. If you can believe that I had even more energy than today. Flailing around, and every year I would break the baton. Every year, okay? It was on a stand, it wasn't on a student, except for one. But oftentimes, because it would be such a big deal, I would end up giving that baton away. And I started a tradition at the other school district I worked at of giving the broken baton away to the best band student. But I had broken the baton for years, for a really long time, until this year. And I did break the baton. I would like to say it was not because I was doing interpretive dance, but it was because I decided to do a pirouette in the middle of conducting, snapped the stand, or snapped the stick and went flying into the, was that 7th grade or 8th grade? They remember. However, thank you for the beautiful. However, so I thought that I would start the tradition again. And so I thought that maybe this year I would give the baton away to the most improved band student of the entire band. And first, let me get the baton so you can see that it is real. It is off stage just here. Hold on. There it is. We go. Hey, Mr. Shelley, how are you doing? So here's the baton, just so everybody can know. You know that I used it for a long time because you can see the bite marks. And when I put it in my mouth and I'm talking, and then here's the other end, so you know that the two do go together. And so I thought I'd share this with the first student at Ross. And so this guy came to me. I knew him in 5th grade. He had a long way to go. And I remember going like, oh man, I don't know. And they decided to do band. And I was like, okay. And so I worked together with him, and I just watched him grow for years and years and years. And I'm so proud of him to say it. I'm crying. I'm a softie. But I'm just so proud of him and the work that he's put in the band he's become. So for the first work of the time, I would like to give it to Michael Lewis. So Michael routinely shows up in my room with every instrument that he has managed to come into his hands, right? He comes in with a thumb piano known as a kalimba. He comes in with other instruments that you bring. So he just brings all kinds of stuff. He talks to me about music every day. And he went from a kid I had in 5th grade going, I don't know about this kid, to a kid that I know is truly dedicated to music, to band. So one big round of applause. I hope that there are many more broken batons in the future, if I have enough coffee. So a couple more thank yous before we finish off. I want to send a thank you out to Mr. Raymer, who's been working here backstage, and you're seeing him wander around. He's everywhere, always there when I need him. I could not do half of the stuff up here without his help. So a huge, tremendous round of applause for Mr. Raymer. I also had help from Ken Smith. So round of applause to these two gentlemen. To Joey Limberger, who's up there doing lights for us, and all the high school help that we've had. I think Nathan Sommers was around, and Brian Mead for helping set up the stage, and many of the high schools that tend to give back in the middle school. So thank you so much. Would you turn up my mic because I said your name? Round of applause for the high school help. Thank you so much. Just because they're here and I'm going to shout them out. This is the first concert in a very long time that my wife and son are currently in attendance. So thank you so much to my wife, Katie, and then my son Maxwell. They're way in the back there, just so that they know. He was cool. I used to bring him up and conduct Twinkle Twinkle. He won't do that anymore. But maybe he'll stay and he'll say hi. He loves hearing the band. I talk to the band about him all the time. They get to hear about his soccer updates and everything that he does. So just so you know about it, I talk about you all the time. They hear about your band. Anyway, thank you so much to Dr. Conkle and the administration here, Mr. Saylor, who's out in the wings there helping out. Thank you so much to the band boosters. This year we had a grant approved by the Ross Federation, the Grant Federation Foundation, and they gave us $3,200 to start the beginning band camp next year. So next year will be the first year that incoming sixth graders will have a 3-day camp before the start of school to learn how to assemble their instruments, learn how to play the first 5 notes, and have help from outside music educators before school even starts, so that they can find a place and they can find a home at the middle school and find a group of people that will love and support them in music. So thank you so much to the boosters for helping us out with that. Round of applause for that. Last but not least, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the audience here today. Thank you for supporting your children in music for not 1, not 2, not 3, but for some of you 4 years so far, and some of you even more. Thank you for having them play things for you. Thank you for having them show off, for asking them to play it again, even if you don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, and you don't know the difference between a quarter note and a random squiggly line on a piece of paper. Thank you for supporting, thank you for showing them your music, thank you for listening to their music. Some of it is good. And thank you so much for being here tonight. And then one big, big round of applause for both the people sitting down here and the people up here, because this is where the leaders are. Oh, one last big thank you is out to Scott Tabor and Anna Tabor, who made your programs that you have right now. Normally you would get some little hand-done thing by me and a computer and Word and now Google, but Mr. Tabor did a really fantastic job, and Anna Tabor worked on the art, and so thank you so much to those people. Wherever you are, if you're in the audience, you can stand up. I don't know if you're here tonight, but if you are, I'd love to recognize you. If not, big round of applause for that. I know they're recording this right now. Thank you so much, Mrs. Metz, for always recording. Even when I forget to ask you to come, she will still show up. So thank you so much. And then without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's our very last song performed to you on the stage by 8th grade as 8th graders. And the only fitting title is Due North. So here we go. Oh, I did want to mention that I picked this piece specifically for them because this is the personality that this band has. So when you hear this piece of music, you will forever know it is for the 22-23 8th grade band. Here comes Due North by Michael Smith. Here we go. Let's wake him up. Ready? I'm ready. are going to transition to jazz ensemble. I would encourage everybody to stay and just hear these couple tunes. If you can make it another 20 minutes with us, I would love to have you stay and hear some hip jazz. But in the meantime, 8th grade, once they get the chairs cleared out, we start getting jazz set up. All 8th graders, if you're going to band camp next year, I think the boosters have your lanyards for band camp. So if you want to go out after you get your instruments put away, you can go out to the boosters table out there and get yourself your lanyard for band camp. So thank you so much for everyone for coming. I would appreciate if you stayed here at Jazz Band, but if not, we'll see you on the other side. Take care. Thank you for coming and supporting these.